She's running on the Maduro plan. We call it the Maduro plan, like something straight out of Venezuela or the Soviet Union. This announcement is an admission that her economic policies have totally failed and caused really a catastrophe for our country, and beyond that, a catastrophe in the world.
Yes, President Trump yesterday at Bedminster, New Jersey, talking about the new commie plan that Kamala is gonna pitch today. Finally, a speech on policy, and she stole the script from a Hugo Chavez speech in Caracas, Venezuela. There must be some kind of way out of here, said the Joker to the thief. There's too much confusion. I can't get no relief. Sorry, throwing in the Jimi Hendrix lyrics here because they strangely fit. Today's Democrat Party. So Kamala on the loose. The Democrat Party, they've got Tiananmen Tim, the Chinese Communist Party candidate for vice president, running with Kamala Harris. Well, Kamala is calling on the federal government to build 3 million new housing units, to give $25,000 of our money to other people in down payments for first-time home buyers because, you know, capitalism has failed, man. It's honestly, let's go back to the Communist Manifesto of 1848 to reshape our economy. That's what she's talking about doing here, honestly. The Fox News headline, Critics Blast Harris's Grasp of Inflation, Attack on Business Ahead of Policy Speech. Quote, lunatic behavior, end quote. Inflation is starting to slow, but remains high under Biden-Harris administration. Remarkable stories everywhere you look. Vice President Kamala Harris is expected to roll out her economic plan on Friday during a speech in Raleigh, North Carolina. She's following Trump around. She's stealing his policies like the no tax on tips, and I'm sure she's going to be out with no tax on Social Security soon because she's a dim-witted commie. Early indications are that it will have a progressive populist thrust. I was reading in the Washington Post today that this is a populist push, and now populism is good. Populism was fascism just a week ago. Now, when the left is spreading what they claim is populism, it's good. And boy, it's good to be a Democrat, isn't it? They, honestly, other than the fact that they keep swapping monkeypox back and forth, which is another discussion for another day. So, including a tax on corporate price gouging. Amazing stuff. Really remarkable. All right, let's go to, we have President Trump, who was speaking at Bedminster in New Jersey. And soundbite number 6, she wanted free health care for everyone. It's not free. It's, what was the old P.J. O'Rourke line? If you think health care is expensive now, just wait till it's free. And the left, the Democrats, they destroy everything they touch. President Trump yesterday, Bedminster.
Under her, you're not going to have private health care plans anymore. And you can be a wealthy person or a middle-income person, and you want to spend on a really good plan, better than a government plan could be, far better. And you're not going to be allowed. You're all going to be thrown into a communist system. It's a communist system.
It's a communist system. You're all going to be thrown into a communist system. It's a communist system. We're now using the words out loud, which we have not done in the past, but we have reached the point now where we can stop tap dancing around all of this because there is nothing good about what Kamala and the Democrats are proposing here. And it's true that her grasp of economic matters is a mockery of a sham, of a disgrace. And this is where the left is. This is the hardcore left. Her messages are the messages of the hardcore left, to the left of Bernie Sanders and he is a Bolshevik. And President Trump said that yesterday. And she just keeps cackling and giggling like a schoolgirl. And the news media keeps oiling her up and giving her a massage because they're fluffers, not journalists. So again, Michael Tyler, the Harris Walz campaign communications director, said on CNN on Wednesday that Americans can expect her to talk about the ways in which she wants to move this economy forward and lower costs for middle-class families by price fixing everything from groceries to insurance to pharmaceuticals. By the way, the pharmaceutical companies, a couple of things about the pharmaceutical companies. Who do you think saved more lives last year and brought comfort to more people separately? Pfizer or the United Nations? My money is on Pfizer, big time. And the pharmaceutical companies are already pointing out, well, all right, if you fix prices on pharmaceuticals and have the hobnailed boot of the government come in and steamroll the pharmaceutical industry, it will lead to more people dying sooner because you're going to hobble research and development. Statements have already been put out by pharmaceutical companies. You know, our money goes to research and development, R&D, and it leads to all of the miracle drugs and treatments. Joe Biden had some phony event the other day throwing money at cancer research. We've been throwing gigantic amounts of money appropriately at cancer research for a great many years. Saying here's some more doesn't do anything for his fake, phony BS moonshot on cancer, about which he's done nothing for 3.5 years, even though it was one of his big claims. And it was even not a bad idea, except we've already had a moonshot to fight cancer going on for a great many years in the United States. But they're going to fix the prices of groceries. And, you know, auto insurance under Joe Biden and Kamala Harris is up more than 50% in 3.5 years. Did you know that? Auto insurance up more than 50% under Joe Biden. Food up more than 22%. All these things. And they think that price fixing, commie style, is the way to go. How completely ridiculous. Even the Washington Post flabbergasted by what a bad idea this is. And, he says this spokesmodel says that Kamala understands that for too many families, prices remain too high. Well, that's because of your economic policies that everything is much more expensive today than it was 3 years ago. Amazing stuff. And then they keep talking about day one in office. Day one in office. We're going to fix this. And honestly, President Trump pointed it out. E.J. and Tony pointed it out. Day one in office was 3.5 years ago. What you've been doing in the meantime to tackle inflation is what exactly? You've been creating it. You're creating high prices. And now you think the government can steamroll industries from these pharmaceutical companies to grocery store chains, and you're going to force them to lower prices, which means that everybody will go out of business. That's how that works. We've seen it again and again. You don't have to be an economist or a historian or a genius, but it helps if you know a thing or two. Let's go to soundbite number 29. On CNN, the cable news network, left-wing front group for the Democrat Party, they've got a shill by the name of Abby Phillip. And Abby Phillip was reading an article out of National Review where they were pointing out a thing or two about this really bad idea, and she's just flabbergasted by this. She doesn't understand it. Her brain is not big enough.
But here's one thing. I mean, one of the things that we learned about her policy that she's going to roll out is support for a ban on price gouging. Mm-hmm. Now, I think reasonable people would ask, what does that mean? What does that really mean? And how is the government going to be involved in it? Here's Noah Rothman in the National Review. He describes this policy as a rank pander to the economically illiterate. And despite the presence of many who fit that description in Congress, they understand that allowing the executive branch to functionally set prices is a brain-dead idea that would only hurt consumers in the long run. I mean, is this just a ploy? Because it sounds kind of like it.
It sounds incredibly lame. Even Abby Phillip, with her tiny little squirrel brain, is reading from the National Review, which helps her out a lot. And amazing stuff. Now, even the New York Times says Vice President Kamala Harris will call for a federal ban on corporate price gouging on groceries in a speech laying out her economic agenda on Friday. That's today. Campaign officials said late Wednesday. In an effort to blame big companies for persistently high costs of American consumer staples. This plan includes large overlaps with efforts that the Biden administration has pursued for several years because they're commies, to target corporate consolidation. They hate free market capitalism and corporations. And price gouging. What exactly is price gouging? Define it for me. Including attempts to stoke more competition in the meat industry and the Federal Trade Commission's lawsuit this year that seeks to block the merger of two large grocery retailers, Kroger and Albertsons. Now, that doesn't exactly solve the problem for you, but they just like the ham-handed approach of the federal government because, you know, they're not on our side. They're really not. Amazing things. Now, let's get back to some news media stuff because on Morning Joke this morning on MSDNC, a radical left, America-hating front group, they got that guy Lawrence O'Donnell, who's a proud socialist over there. Willie Geist was talking to Democrat Senator Bob Casey this morning about this great idea of attacking grocery stores and capitalism because the state has the answers. Never mind Venezuela or the Soviet Union or Cuba or any place else that this has been implemented and proven to be a complete disaster, but never mind that.
So let's start with this idea of price gouging. A lot of economists, not just conservative ones, but even more moderate and some liberal ones, believe that the margins are so thin at a grocery store that they're not gouging prices, that they're just trying to keep up with supply and demand. What do you say to that?
They don't care about supply and demand. And honestly, grocery stores operate on profit margins of, if they're really lucky, it might get to 3%, the profit margin, right? 3% of your $100, 3% of your $1 million. But normally it's 1% to 2% is the profit margin at a grocery store. But Kamala Harris has a plan to roll the federal government in. We're from the federal government and we're here to help. And she's going to make it better. Even Willie Geist, who's a lifelong Democrat Party shill and a fraudulent journalist, not a journalist at all, seemed a little bit incredulous. But you got your Democrat Senator Bob Casey from Pennsylvania, and he thinks communism might be just the thing.
When they jack up their prices, hiding behind inflation or hiding behind the idea of the pandemic causing this, or supply chains, it's a lot of BS. We should go after them and investigate them. If they're not price gouging, they got nothing to worry about. And
does Willie Geist say, what are you saying, that inflation doesn't exist, that inflation isn't real, that grocery prices are up 22% under Biden because they're greedy and not because everything that they're buying is more expensive than it was 3 years ago? No, that doesn't come up. But Kami Casey.
So my point is that we should give the federal government the power to investigate just run-of-the-mill price gouging, and you give the people an opportunity to fight back against them. As I said, if they're not engaged in corporate price gouging, they got nothing to worry about.
You'll be investigated by the federal government, but if you're not guilty, you have nothing to worry about. We're going to search your home, but if you have nothing to worry about, then you're not doing anything wrong, then you have nothing. We're going to wiretap your phones, and we're going to tap into your text messages and your emails. But if you're not doing anything wrong, then you don't have anything to worry about. Sieg Heil, Herr Casey, you fascist. And that's today's Democrat Party. They are not liberals. You know that the best-selling Eden Pure Thunderstorm air purifier uses Oxy technology that helps to quickly destroy a whole lot of viruses, odors, mold, bad smells, and a whole lot more. Thousands of 5-star reviews on Al Gore's amazing internet. We've got 2 at home ourselves. Any smell will vanish after just a few seconds with the thunderstorm being on. Odors from litter boxes and trash cans, dirty diapers, even left-wing protesters are no match for the Eden Pure thunderstorm, because the powerful thunderstorm sends out O3 molecules that go behind and underneath furniture, seek out and destroy odors. Nothing can hide from the thunderstorm. And right now, see, wonderful thing, you don't have to buy filters over and over again like you do with a lot of air purifiers, because the Eden Pure thunderstorm is self-contained, and it's only this big. You can hold one in your hand. It's not the size of a couch or anything like that. And right now, you can save $200 American when you get an Eden Pure thunderstorm 3-pack for whole home protection. You get 3 units for under $200, so you can put one in your basement, your teenager's room, any place you like to have clean, fresh air. Just go to EdenPureDeals.com, EdenPureDeals.com, and use the discount code CHRIS3, C-H-R-I-S, and the number 3, to save $200 because you hang out with me. That's EdenPureDeals.com. The discount code is CHRIS3. Yeah, we've got more on this. They're going full commie. And she hasn't even given her speech yet. Kamala. Say, oh, you mispronounced her name. I love mispronouncing her name. It's one of my favorite things to do. And now there's a new mispronunciation. Kamala Chameleon. Now, this morning, my best girl and I were talking about, well, we might go out to dinner tonight. Stayed home all week and had dinner at home all week, and said maybe tonight we'll go out to dinner. Now, an Axios story just popped this morning. Why more places are serving bugs in D.C., with a picture of tattooed arms holding a Chinese box with piles of bugs and some green leaves, maybe a little fried potato thing under there. Crickets, flying ants, bee larvae. Bugs are swarming into menus in Washington, D.C. and beyond. Eating insects isn't new. Ancient Romans feasted on beetle larvae, and so they want to bring back the larvae from the beetles. The Aztecs on waterfly eggs, and they sacrificed their children by the thousands too. But in addition to their ties to indigenous foodways, liberals can't wait to eat bugs. Chefs and industries are embracing bugs for their nutritional value and eco-friendliness. The Democrats they're moving us in this direction. They want us to eat bee larvae and beetles. Yeah, the Democrat Party has become the party of beetle munchers. They're beetle munchers now. The story is really something in Axios about more restaurants in D.C. serving bugs, bee larvae and flying ants and crickets, and they're bragging about it. They're modern celebrity chefs helped turn them mainstream, eating insects. You know, I understand like Ilhan Omar's family might still have a craving every now and then, something like that. Like Renee Redzepi's viral ant egg tostada, or the radical left-wing anti-American immigrant chef Jose Andres. The left loves him. His grasshopper tacos. One of D.C.'s OG bug bites, still served at Oyamel, a very expensive restaurant in Washington. Jose Andres, he's the guy who sent the caterers to feed Hamas, and they got blowed up. And then it was everybody's fault but their own, the usual stuff. Amazing stuff. So they love eating bugs now. They're pushing beetle munching for the American diet. Americans aren't rushing to trade Big Macs for beetles. See, they got beetles right there. But there's a growing bug economy in the U.S. Yeah, that's for agriculture, I think. You can buy mixed bug trail mix on Amazon. Sample chili lime crickets from indie snacks brands Don Bugito, or browse a variety of bug-based products at Mom's Organic Market in the Washington, D.C. area. Isn't that amazing? And this is Michael Piercy's favorite. The Rockville-based chain Sustainable Protein aisle is packed with cricket flour granola and mealworm bolognese sauce. I just think I'll take my ground beef or, some steak, maybe even turkey. You can do ground turkey for your bolognese. Yeah, do you really want meat and veal, beef and veal? And you can do pork too. But mealworm bolognese. Italian food was good until the left got a hold of it. The left, they can ruin Italian food. Make your bolognese sauce mealworm bolognese.
He don't eat no meat.
No, he doesn't eat meat.
What do you mean he don't eat no meat? Oh, that's okay. That's okay. I make lamb.
That's okay. I'll make lamb. That's all right. We'll just have my big fat Greek wedding. There it is there. And they got pictures here. A guy, his hands filled with bugs. They're beetle munchers. The Democrats are commies and beetle munchers all in one day. Isn't that amazing? Yes, sir. Ilhan Omar's family enjoys eating the black scorpions that would be crawling over their sun-bleached bones were it not for the United States of America. Isn't that amazing? All right, we've got a lot more. Let's get to soundbite number 33. Number 33. On CNN, they invited Lance Trover. Lance Trover was the spokesman for Governor Doug Burgum at a brief presidential campaign, or maybe vice presidential campaign, but he was one of the guys in the running for vice president. And I met him once at Newsmax. Very nice guy. His son was there. Very nice young man. But he was great. Very normal, very down to earth. Regular guy. He's done very well in life, and he likes America. He's on our side. But in any case, his spokesman, Lance Trover, was on CNN, and they're like, hey, the Democrat Party's gone commie. Want to talk about that?
What's most disconcerting to me about this are these Soviet-style price controls that she's going to call for. I mean, it's like, hey, the Soviets called, they want their price controls back. I mean, that is most disconcerting to me. Are you talking about the price controls on drugs? On food. She's going to call for government intervention, price controls on food. That's something we tried in the 70s. It didn't work. I mean, the Soviets called. They want their economic policies back. I find that very disconcerting. I think it's something voters should pay attention to. Sarah
Seidner tried to straighten out the little are you talking about price controls on pharmaceuticals? Because that polls well. Yeah, it'll lead to catastrophe as well. But Sarah Seidner jumped in to take up the Democrat Party position and try to mop up on aisle Kamala, which is what the news media will do from this point on.
I mean, that is talking about the price controls on drugs?
On food.
No, I'm talking about the price controls on food. I know you have no idea what's going on in the world, so I'll try to explain it to you. I know I've been saying this for years. These news media people, they don't actually follow the news. They have no idea what is going on. And since Kamala is planning on price controls, price fixing food, because those grocery stores with their 1% margins of profit are engaging in price gouging because they might get 2%. And the inflation is all because of you guys and your policies. So they can't take responsibility as adults might take responsibility. So they invent fantastical conspiracy theories about evil corporations price gouging, and the poor ordinary American is the victim of these terrible corporations. No, we've fallen prey to your economic policies, you dimwit. Let's go to number 14, Alfredo Ortiz. Alfredo Ortiz this morning on the Fox News Channel on the 5 a.m. hour. I was watching for you. He is more than 20 years as a food exec, and he was asked about these terrible, awful grocery stores and their price gouging.
I'm actually a former executive in the food industry for about 20 plus years, and I can tell you that this is not price gouging that's going on. What's happening is that the wholesale inflation, it's called PPI, basically, Producer Price Index, has actually been going in tandem with consumer price index, inflation for the consumer. They've actually been lockstep. since the inflation started really with this beginning of the administration. And so really what they're doing is they're just simply passing the prices on.
Yeah, you see, everything they buy is more expensive where they got it. So you're going to have to go back further up the food chain and try to indict someone else. They'll end up accusing farmers. And, honestly, it's the producer price index, the consumer price index. Prices are up. That means when grocery stores buy the things they put on their grocery store shelves, they have to pay more for them. And if they don't want to go out of business and make the entire country a food desert, like you guys do to ghettos everywhere because, well, in large part because you steal everything and rob everything and you're violent criminals and you make it impossible to operate a business in your neighborhoods. The problem is not our guns, it's your sons. Stop stealing stuff. Stop shooting people. But the fact is when grocery stores have to pay more to stock the shelves, they have to charge more. See? Capitalism 1. You don't even have to get to 101. It's just page 1 of day 1 of book 1. But Kamala Harris doesn't know anything about that, and for the most part, the Democrat Party doesn't. Alfredo Ortiz.
All they are doing is passing this price inflation from the wholesale perspective to the consumer.
Which is how this works. If it costs you $1 million to make an automobile, you have to charge at least $1,001 when you sell the automobile. Otherwise, you'll go out of business today, you see. And a can of corn, if you got to pay $1 for it, you got to charge $1.01 for it. Otherwise, you'll go out of business. And again, if they live on a margin, which they do, grocery stores are between 1% and 3%, typically 1% to 2%, then literally they're paying $1 for a can of peas, and they charge $1.02 for it. They get the 2 cents. Did you know, kind of an aside, but an important aside, that you go to the gas station, you pump gas, you fill your gas tank up, the government makes more money off of each gallon of gas than the oil company does, than the gas company, than the gas station does. Nobody makes more money off a gallon of gas than the government because of their taxes, federal taxes, state taxes, local taxes, city taxes on a gallon of gas. The government takes much more money per gallon of gas than the oil company, than Exxon. Let's say it's Exxon. And they've got the oil rigs in the Gulf of Mexico and the refining facilities and the ability to transport the fuel after refining it. And they own the gas station and they hire the people and, put the Reese's peanut butter cups on the shelves and the Dr. Peppers in the fridge. They make less money. Exxon makes less money off of a gallon of gas than the government does. Ask Kamala about that. That'll just be one more thing she doesn't know anything about. Amazing stuff. So what does Alfredo Ortiz think about the upcoming election?
Well, the economy is going to boom again. I mean, we've seen that, right? We've seen what happens under the Trump administration and what we were all experiencing, which was really prosperity. And under this administration, under the Biden-Harris administration, we've just seen misery. And as you guys pointed out, those charts show the prices of everything is up. I mean, from eggs to bread, milk, cheese, electricity, rents, insurance, everything is sky high. And again, it's not price gouging. It's basically the wholesalers, businesses trying to pass on the costs that they've been hit with. And unfortunately, her policy, agenda of as this being the first one is absolutely ridiculous.
Absolutely ridiculous. And mockable, but we've got a filthy, corrupt news media that will fluff her all the way to Election Day and then pretend that she's doing a great job as everything goes to hell and gang members move into your house and steal everything you have. Larry Kudlow, he was on last night with Sean Hannity on the Fox News Channel, and he was asked about this Kamala plan, because price gouging, those terrible grocery store operators are gouging the consumers because they're greedy. It's corporate greed. They love these communist turns of phrase.
No one has ever proven that the reason for high prices, whether it's grocery prices or electricity prices or oil and energy prices, no one's ever shown that corporate greed or price gouging has ever played a role in it. Biden looked at this. He had a task force inside the government. They came up with nothing.
That's because it's fantasy, it's fiction, it's communism, it's anti-capitalist as well. Oh, we'll blame the capitalists for the price of things when it's really the government regulation and choking the life out of the supply chain and you know, who would want to open a business in this environment? Go to California. You know, if you're a Democrat, please move to California and open a business. But don't come back here when it's time to self-immolate. We've already had enough self-immolation on the East Coast from you Democrats. Let's go to number 7, soundbite number 7, because our media people and our, I got to tell you, I've played this before, but it's worth playing on Morning Joke. Lawrence O'Donnell, who is a $1 million journalist at NBC Fake News and DNC TV, they were having a discussion about, who's more left-wing, and they're trying to out-left-wing one another.
Unlike you, I am not a progressive. I am not a liberal who's so afraid of the word that I had to change my name to progressive.
I'm not either.
Liberals amuse me. I am a socialist. I live to the extreme left. Great. The extreme left of you mere liberals, okay?
And that's, I know. I mean, all you've done is murder 100 million people, enslave billions of people, destroy country after country. And this time they're going to get it right. It's not going to be Cuba this time. It's not going to be Venezuela this time. It's not going to be Nicaragua or North Korea this time. It's going to be a different thing altogether this time. And if you believe them, then, you have the brain of a squirrel. And you're a lefty. Bernie Sanders, speaking of lefties, Bernie the Bolshevik, he's really something, he is. And he honeymooned in the Soviet Union. And Tim Walz honeymooned in communist China. They've got a lot in common. And he scheduled his wedding day, Tim Walz, for the 5th anniversary of the massacre at Tiananmen Square because they love death more than we love life. They love massacres. They love when people are killed by the millions. That's when socialists are really at their best. Here's Bernie Sanders lying about everything. Oh, the police department is socialism. The roads are paved is socialism. No, that's government. That's not socialism.
This is not a socialist program. You know what is a socialist program? It's the Veterans Administration. You know what's a socialist program? Your police department. Your fire department. Those are government-run programs.
Those are government. Not every government-run program is socialism. So, as usual, commies, they lie about everything because that's what they do. They lie. They kill, they destroy, they steal. They're here. They've taken over the Democrat Party. Why don't you hear what Robert F. Kennedy Jr. had to say about them? You know that your feet support you day and night throughout your summer adventures and beyond. You might be tired of shoes that promise comfort and support but fail to deliver. Introducing G-Defy shoes. G-Defy shoes with VersaShock technology. Unlike ordinary brands of shoes, G-Defy shoes offer superior shock absorption and trampoline-like energy return. Hoist up your arches. Wonderful. My best girl and I each have a pair. We hike around the city. We love them. These shoes help provide you with relief from foot pain, knee pain, ankle pain, even problems with your back. I love my shoes. Whether you're an athlete, a busy parent, or just always on the go like most of us, G-Defy shoes offer the comfort and versatility that your feet crave. So it's time to say goodbye to discomfort and hello to unparalleled support this summer. Every pair of G-Defy shoes comes with 2 free sets of orthotics, inserts for your shoes to help your feet feel even better, and a special lateral stabilizer to help improve your stride, the way you walk or run. And as a listener to our humble show, you get to enjoy a special summer offer. You visit gdefy.com and you're going to get $20 off your order of $100 or more with the code CHRIS. It's just Chris, CHRIS. That's GDEFY, gdefy.com. Don't forget to use the code CHRIS for $20 off your order of $100 or more. Experience the ultimate in summer comfort with G-Defy shoes. Visit gdefy.com today. Yes, sir. Yeah, the commies they're out of their hole in the ground. They're marching around, and the media is doing what they can to spin this. Kamala is going to speak today for the first time ever, and she's going to propose that we become the Soviet Union. Let's take a phone call, Michael. Let's go to Jim, listening on WLS in Chicago, Illinois. Jim, you're on the Chris Plant Show.
Okay. In ancient Rome, however, not a single senator ate bugs. It was only the plebes, and that was the ruling elite. The senators, anyway. And China, not a single emperor ate a bug. And all his bureaucrats, not a single one ate a bug. Only the poor Chinese in the rural areas were forced to eat bugs. As a result of their policies, of the ruling elite in Chinese Empire. Aztec Empire, the emperor and the royal courts and the priestess, not a single one of them ate a bug. And that was only the poor kid who ended up sacrificed to altar ate bugs.
Well, I think you're onto something. Jose Andres is a multi-millionaire left-wing political activist who owns restaurants, and he's got, what is it, the crickets? What kind of tacos? The grasshopper, and they've made it very chic at a very expensive restaurant in Washington. They're, the left is here, Jim, and they're trying to make the unpalatable fashionable.
Oh yeah, I got a bet. Since Robert De Niro is part of the ruling elite, never in our lifetime will see De Niro eat a bug.
I'd like to see De Niro eat bugs. I think that'd be kind of fun. I think he deserves bugs. Yeah, the Democrats, they're beetle munchers. They've become beetle munchers. They want us to become beetle munchers too. Why lift up the rest of the world when you can just drag down the United States?